Welcome to the InterCellar POD, where we get below
the surface.
We get below the surface and help you build a foundation of hope, one conversation at a time. My name is William, and this is Annie, and we still got to figure out how we do that intro part. Go to the intro.
We're back.
We are back. All right. We just both look immediately.
We are back, and
awoken.
the baby is sleeping, and I have the spy device.
Whoa. Actually, okay, cool.
He just moved.
He just got upgraded to a pack and play.
Yes, he is sleeping in a pack and play. He's a big boy. He's walking. He is taking leaps and bounds faster than we can handle.
Yes. Hence why there has not been a podcast. And that's all we'll say about that. But, yeah, we actually got a really sweet deal on that because we returned, not returned, but we traded in his,
bassinet type thing. And then they gave me $20 store credit. So then I got his brand new Graco brand. I don't know how you say that brand. Pack and play for... I feel like I need more voice intonation, so hence why I am doing this. Anyway, I got it for like $40, so that was really good because Graco can be pretty expensive, but they are really good quality, and I got a great deal. So I love a great deal. It was
basically new. It came out of the box.
It did come straight out of the box, and it's awesome. It's working great.
It was very needed because he was definitely he was on the edge.
Yeah, eventually we will get him a nice, brand new, spanking new, one of those like 5-in-1 or 3-in-1 cribs that you can take from babyhood all the way to like when they're like 5 or 6 years old, and that'll be awesome. But he gets a new bed for his new room because, surprise, we're moving.
We are moving. We have done it. We have made it through 1 year living here. And I don't want to make that sound like it's just been horrible because it really hasn't.
No, it's been awesome. Today we spent a lot of the day actually packing and cleaning things out and organizing. And while we were doing that, I was just actually feeling really grateful and sentimental about our time here at this house. Yeah. And you guys know the story and you've heard everything about it. But we have just had a good time here. It's been a good house. And
I don't know that they've heard everything because in the time that we haven't been recording, there's been a lot of like very long driving for me to work. It started averaging out at like 2 hours one way. And... which was a lot, and so that was definitely...
I was driving back from our new place to here, and that's only like an hour, and I was just like, how do you do this every day? Because I drove 2 hours round trip to spend 1 hour at the house, at the new apartment, and I was just like, oh my goodness, how does he do this every day? It is so much time on the road, and especially when you're going through the big city that we live near to, like it is, you feel like you're going to die. People are cray-cray, and it is so intense. And I was so tense at the wheel. I had to do like box breathing because I was like, I am really stressing my body out right now. But hey, we've made it because
I've learned a lot more defensive driving, and I don't know. I've just kind of learned to get into the zone. And like, there was a period where mentally, like, it was difficult and I had to kind of fight through it, but then you kind of get into this... You're just a beast
on the road now.
You kind of get into this place where, one, for better or worse, you zone out a little bit. Like, I would say that I still pay attention very well on the road, especially now that we upgraded our insurance, and a lot of insurance programs now provide a discount if you have like the tracking thing on your phone. And so I've not only have I been driving super long, but I have the tracking feature. So I'm like every time that I hard brake or touch my phone or anything like that, like it docks you points for that. So I've just in general been more aware.
What's your score right now? I haven't even checked mine.
Mine is good. It's like 87 or something like that.
I've definitely used my phone a few times.
Yeah.
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 Because I just get annoyed and I just think to myself, this little app does not get to tell me what I can and can't do. And so I don't know why.
Most of the points that I get docked for are hard brakes because there's a couple of stoplights that I will I will know they're coming, and I will do my best to like prepare myself to slow down or anything.
They're out to get you.
But they're literally, it's just so quick.
Yeah.
That like you're like, oh no, we're good. We're gonna make it through the light, and then it's like it's the one of those ones that goes like yellow red, and you have like so you basically have to slam on the brakes, and then it's like, um, um, you hit a hard brake right there, and so we're gonna knock you up.
It's like actually no, I was saving lives at that point in my life. Yeah.
Yes.
I think there should be a law that every yellow light has to be the exact same length, because how are we supposed to know if we're supposed to hit the gas or the brake? If the yellow light is 10 seconds long, like most of them are when I slam on the brakes, then I'm going to zoomy through. But if it's 2 seconds long, like most of them are when I zoomy through, then I'm going to stop. But whatever I plan to do, slam on the brakes, it ends up being a long light. And the people behind me are like, you're an idiot. Why aren't you going? And then it's just make it
we
simple.
Need
traffic
more
law
consistent
people.
yellows. It's just
Yes,
the yellow
please,
part.
thank you. Yeah,
you know, if the green needs to be a different length.
The green and the red, they're good. But like the yellow, can we just please? Can we?
Same distance. You just know how much time when you see the yellow.
That
you're
would be
like,
so nice.
That would be
good. Also, I got a mom car. It's amazing. It's a gift straight from heaven. It dropped out of heaven into our driveway with a big red bow on it, and it was shocking, and I love it.
Yeah. So that was another element in all of this was that our car broke down.
Transmission.
So not only was I driving the assistant, suddenly I couldn't drive at all. Very thankful I could work from home. That was a huge blessing, but it was also, I mean, I was trying to carpool. I
absolutely loved having you at home
different things.
For a while. That was
it was
so
very special.
Fun. I was actually sad when you went back to work.
Yeah.
I could really get used to us working from home. And
I think I could too. And that is something that we want to do.
Time away from each other. I feel like we'd have to get, because distance makes the heart grow fonder. But I also don't know if that's always the case, because I love hanging out with you.
But
I've never thought to myself I wish William wasn't with me right now. I've never even thought that before.
No, I don't think I've ever felt that either. There's definitely times where it's like, okay, I need to focus, like when I'm working from home.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
saying
like
normal
also
life
like
stuff.
At the same time, it's kind of like, oh well, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. So
yeah, it's like you're my favorite person. So yeah, I want to hang out with you all the time.
Yeah. So that's the nutshell. Quick update. We're going to talk about more of this later, but I want to move on so that way it's not just broken update status stuff. But there you go. For those that were interested here, there were some random details.
There was some people holding their breath, and now they can finally let it out.
Take a breathe.
Yeah,
nice
this is your reminder that have you breathed through your belly today?
I have to do that when I'm driving a lot.
Because have you just been shallow breathing all day? Because this is your reminder to take a deep breath, turn that vagus nerve on, and tell your body, I love you, body. You're okay. Everything's going to be all right.
Yes. Which is a perfect segue into our conversation of the day, which is AI.
ChatGPT?
No segue at all. I mean,
Grok?
AI in general, ChatGPT, we'll talk about Grok in a little bit. But starting off, this is kind of funny because literally my entire time that I was in college, people were talking about ChatGPT and like all the stuff.
Okay, honey, hold on, pause. If he refers to it as ChatGPT, ChatGPT, ChatJupiter, whatever he refers to it as, he has nicknames for ChatGPT because
Dr. Jippity-doo-dah.
because he is very tight with ChatGPT. They have nicknames for each other. Okay, so I'm just adding that in right now.
Before you're concerned,
I'm concerned. I'm your wife.
We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this. So all throughout college, people were talking about it, and I was kind of like, okay, like whatever. I just did my study. I didn't ever look into it. I didn't ever touch any of that stuff.
I didn't even know it existed.
But like people were talking about it a lot, and there was all this stuff going on where they were using software to see if you're using AI to cheat on your test or different stuff like that. I didn't even touch it. I didn't even nothing. I mean, I vaguely like the most advanced AI thing that I knew about at the time was like Alexa, and Alexa would kind of. I mean, still to this day, Alexa kind of creeps me out a little bit.
She's not really AI. She just listens.
Which is more creepy. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So at some point, what was the first thing that we used ChatGPT for?
I don't know.
Why did it arrive?
It arrived in our house. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember what the first thing was. It when we were working on the Lavish brand. We were like trying to get ideas. It was around that
Maybe
time.
unless it was Wibbly. Either
Maybe.
way, it was around that time. I
We were
think you're
working on our
right.
hopes and dreams.
I think. Oh wait, I actually know. I think the reason it started is because I have a friend who works for a company that uses AI as like a brainstorming tool. So they'll have AI pitch them a bunch of different ideas, and then they'll have their artists like create what they actually want to create. So ultimately, what gets created is not AI, but they use AI as kind of a brainstorming tool and design concept ideas, that kind of thing. And they use a different AI for that. But I think we got ChatGPT because we wanted to pitch some different design ideas and things. I had created a design for Wibbly, which, if you don't know anything about that, the short is it's something that we're hoping to do in the future, it has to do with kids and stuff. But basically, I'd been working on concepts of a
Well,
logo.
I drew it, and
Yeah,
then
and you
I
drew it.
drew it, and then you
Mm-hmm.
were trying to like turn
Bring
it
it to
into yeah.
life. And I got it to an okay place. But I was pretty rusty on Photoshop. It's been a while. So then I
Took a bunch of too
used,
many. I mean, like keep it to skinny.
yeah. So,
Basically, we were just working on
well, but this
like
is important. This is important. So, something that I used to do, and I'll talk to a lot of artists and people, they do the same thing. You go on Google Images for certain design concepts. You look at a bunch of different designs. You gather ideas, and then you formulate what you want to create. You're not copying exactly what other people are doing. Like you're just getting inspired. They're like, oh wow, that's a neat way they shaded that, or that's a neat color scheme, or like da 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 da, and then you formulate what this is in your mind that you want to create, and then you create that. Now, the issue is that's limited to what you can find out there. And so now I'm sure more advanced artists, maybe they're better at creative thinking. I'm an amateur Photoshop artist. So like I know how to use the tools. I don't know anything about art theory or things like that. I know a little bit about cartooning. That's about it. So I normally just Google a bunch of different images or YouTube stuff, and then I kind of gather ideas, and I'm pretty good at recreating concepts in Photoshop, like because I know the tools well enough that I can be like, oh yeah, I can add a shadow or I can do that. So that all being said, I made a general idea, but I was really struggling with how to make it just pop. And so I just threw that into ChatGPT. I think that was one of the first times we had that, and had it generate a couple images. And I was like,
yeah. I
wow.
think that
And
was one
here's
of the
here's
first
the
times.
thing. They were amazing. Absolutely amazing. But they weren't what I wanted quite. And the thing with AI in a lot of ways is it's so good, but it's also just copying lots of things from the internet and creating something out of it. Sure, in a lot of ways it is unique. It's new, because it's being randomly generated, so to speak. But at the same time, it lacks the creative spark, so to speak, that is unique to humans. And I say especially humans that are filled with Holy Spirit and have a relationship with God, because we were created. Now we're going to go real deep, real quick. We were created to create. Like we were created in the image of God. God is the creator. He created the whole world. I mean, of everything that's like, and what we see of the world today, here's a thought for you, is scar tissue compared to what it used to be. And so if you want to see a better idea of what God's created, look at people, and not the things that they're doing wrong, but like what they're meant to be, their value, but like how incredibly made they are. Like that's why I love anatomy. That's like a random side hobby of mine. I don't think I would actually ever be an anatomist. I don't think it's where God is leading me. But I find it so amazing because when you dig into anatomy, you just keep coming back with this idea of like, wow, our bodies are so like fit together and woven in just the most amazing way. And I believe that when the world was created, that's how it was as well, just this amazing masterpiece. And what's amazing is that even through the catastrophic flood, it's still amazing, even though it's been broken in many ways. That's a very long thing to say that people were created to create. And so my take with AI, even just initially, was like, wow, this is a really neat tool. It helps me Google search faster, if that makes sense. But I'm still creating what I want to create. And I don't look at it and be like, you know, oh wow, that's amazing. That's the best that could be done. I'm going to use that kind of thing. Like I go, wow, like that's really neat. What can I learn from that, etc. So anyway, we started using ChatGPT a little bit more after that. We just kind of had it around whenever we wanted to figure something out. We literally just used it in place of Google, I would say. So now I'll kind of hand the conversation off to you because you started using it. Because initially, I think I was using it for some different things, and then I was like, you could probably Jippity that. And so I think you started using it for like, I don't know what you
I use
started
it
off
for
with.
like recipes,
Yeah.
and it's helped me different ways. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a lot of different research things. Like, I'm always looking into health research. And so it's really good at, like, I'm always looking into, like, peer reviewed, placebo controlled different health things about your body, different studies. And so it can like group a bunch of studies together that I can go through and read. But I'm also a creator, and I'm creating a business currently. Am I allowed to say that? Like, that sounds crazy. But
That
like,
is crazy.
I'm
It's
like a
awesome.
businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, lots of different bouncing ideas off and lots of research. I honestly use it for research. Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Like, if I want to do this, how would I go about it? How would I go about setting this up? What's the smartest way to do this? And that's mostly just business and health stuff. But then, like, sometimes I'm like, hey, I have a can of tomatoes and some chicken breast and a crock pot. What can I make for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually really nice. I've
Mm-hmm.
made some pretty good stuff using
But
that.
I feel like you would agree that in the same thing with, because I'm going to talk about using ChatGPT for work and stuff too in a minute. And you would probably agree though that most of the time, if you just take it at its word, it's missing something a lot of times. Like even with recipes, like sometimes it's almost like, oh wow, that needed seasoning, or
Yeah, it's
like,
not always perfect, but a
mm-hmm,
lot of times it's, I mean, very helpful.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So
But it's not always perfect, and it says
no.
that on there, like it can make mistakes. So you
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
kind of roll
Well,
with
I
it.
mean, even with art and stuff, like, it doesn't always know what you're going for. You try
Yeah,
and explain it to it. It doesn't always know.
yeah.
You kind of have to learn to work with it because it's not all knowing, you
Mm-mm.
know? Um, so I feel like, and I definitely think that I've gone through seasons where I've used it too much. But I feel like I've come to a place of like a really good understanding or relationship with ChatGPT and AI in general. Like figuring out how to use it as a tool, but also being confident in my own ability to do things and with Holy Spirit's help. Like it is a very handy tool to learn things. I mean, some stuff was wrong with the house that needed fixed, and being able to use that as a search tool, or even be like, hey, what is a really good video about this? And it'll just give you the link, and then you can watch that. Sometimes that's
Mm.
better. I've had a couple instances where something was wrong with the car or something like that, and ChatGPT did not have the answer. It had the most common answer or whatever, but
My
when
favorite
I
is when I'm like, hey, but what you said doesn't quite make sense because, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you have a great point. That is true. And I'm like, thank you. I thought so.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite is the other day when I saw that people were sending in like pictures of themselves and then asking it to create them as a Barbie doll. And I did that and it was hilarious. It was actually pretty accurate.
It was pretty great.
It was great. It was like, I put in like mom, fitness enthusiast, and hippie. And it gave me an adorable Barbie doll.
It was very
with a
cute.
baby.
It was
in
very
a
cute.
carrier that had a peace,
Much more
a
wholesome,
peace
I
sign
think,
on it.
than some.
And then the like little things that come with the Barbie, like the little accessories. It was like a little yoga mat, and a little smoothie cup, and a little baby carrier.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cute.
It was very cool.
But I definitely think that I've caught on in my own life that there is a temptation to like suddenly you can ask it anything and it'll have an answer for you. And I think that's where a lot of frustration comes in to your walk with God, is that we want to ask him something, we want to hear the answer right away. And so a lot of growth that happens in your life with God through the times that you have to wait for an answer and be patient and worship and abide, and you don't get the answer right away. And so that's where a lot of I think that's where wisdom is needed with AI, and also like the place of the Holy Spirit in your life, because sometimes like I can think, I wish I could just type this into the Holy Spirit and he would just pop me out an answer. But sometimes he doesn't work that way. Sometimes he
not
wants you
a genie in a bottle.
He's not a genie in a bottle, and sometimes he wants you to do crazy things that ChatGPT says is not the right thing to do and it's dangerous.
We have definitely disagreed with ChatGPT on several things.
Yeah, and so like I don't really think I'm gonna go into any more about it. I think just that is that a lot of times walking with God, listening to Holy Spirit requires patience and being still and listening for an answer and pausing. And that's something that ChatGPT and AI and having answers like bam, 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 it doesn't require you to do that. And so it just adds to the rush and the impatience of our culture already. And so I think that's where it's really good to be careful with it and use it as a tool and not become obsessed with it.
Thing that happens to anyone that thinks they know a lot.
Also, I just want to insert that we don't need to know everything, for goodness sakes. You don't need to know everything, okay? You don't need to know how every single thing works. You don't need to have all the information. It's okay to say, I don't know. And maybe you don't even need to find out. Like, there are just things you don't have to know. And if you think you have to know everything about everything, I'm sorry. That's a sad place to be.
You're swearing about just like kind of addicted to information kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. No,
like it's like almost this desperation to like never be caught off guard or make a mistake. And it's like, then you're never going to live because you're always going to be like, you just know too much. Just don't know so much.
Right. Well, and
I say that as somebody who loves information. So, but there's sometimes where I'm just like, I don't need to know that. Like, I just want to not know. Like, I think a lot of times, especially like on the internet, it's just like, we need to talk about this and these issues and that issue. And you scroll through reels and you know too much by like 10 minutes. You're like, I didn't need to know any of that about any of that. And now I do. And I wish I didn't. and like, you don't need to know so much. I think the awesome thing is that we have the most ability to get information that anybody in history has ever had. Like, we have that right now. It's pretty epic. But the other thing is, like, you don't need to know everything.
Well, and you're not designed to know everything.
Exactly. You are not designed to know everything and to have the insight on. I don't know why I'm so passionate about this. I just get frustrated because it's like we weren't designed for it. It feels so unnatural and pushy and stressful and anxious to like think you need to know everything.
Because we are not made to be God, and that's what I was getting at. Like AI It is
Yeah.
the worst thing for people that think that they can figure it all out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh
It's just
look,
adding to
now I
that.
have just like almost a touch of the divine because I
Yeah.
can figure anything out. If I don't already know how to do it, I can just AI it. And so I'm gonna figure everything out. And to be completely honest, I ran into that issue a
Mhm.
couple of times, even with this last season and figuring out what moving was going to look like and different stuff. There's definitely was times during there where I was chat GPTing a bunch of stuff, trying to figure it out, instead of just resting and
Yeah.
being like, no. And honestly, like looking back at my couple of months ago self, like shame on you, and like
No.
completely.
Don't shame
Well,
yourself.
not
But
well,
hey,
maybe a
kick
little
in the
bit.
pants,
That's
dude.
okay. I would kick those pants all the way to the moon because seriously, like the end of the story, what is the end of the story? We're moving to a house that God provided. It's at the right amount of money. It's at the right location. It's exactly what we're needing in this season of life because that's
Better
what
than we could
God
have
does.
anticipated.
Like, yeah, it's not necessarily look exactly like what we necessarily pictured at certain points along the journey, but that's because we don't always know what we need and what it's going to look like, and our
Mhm.
wants don't always perfectly align with what God has in mind. Same with this house that we're in currently. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, looking back, there's a lot of times that, I mean, there were times where it's like, I just genuinely was like, all right, it seems like maybe this is where God's leading, or I'm trying to look into things. And there's no shame in that, even if you end up being wrong, because
Oh yeah, we've been
if
wrong lots of
you're
times.
at peace and you're doing your best to take the right steps and follow God, like just because it doesn't just because you run into a closed door doesn't mean you weren't supposed to go that way. Like
Mhm.
sometimes we act like because there was a closed door, like we took the wrong turn when it's like, well, what if it was never about the door, it was just about being there
Going that
and meeting
direction.
those people
Yeah.
and going that direction. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Because you never know what God had in mind.
yeah, you know?
And why you needed to talk to those certain people and why you needed to bring up those ideas to those certain people. You never know. Like, who knows what God needed to do in their hearts. And it just takes a lot of humility and being willing to look stupid and naive and illogical. And once you're over that, then you good, man.
Mm-hmm. Just relax.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What do you think of that haircut of that dude that came today? I'm sorry. I can't get it out of my head.
Which one?
There was a dude, a famous TikToker that came to look at our house today with his friend who might end up being the next renter here. And like his
Did he have long
haircut,
hair?
I thought I was looking at Bon Jovi for a bit. Like it was like, whoa, what the heck is going on? He is back in the 70s
I
or
think that was the
60s.
vibe he was going for. I feel
Yeah,
like
but
if we
like
were
I
to
was
look at
kind
his
of vibing
TikTok, it
with
was
it.
probably 70s vibe.
I was kind of like, hey, I could get into this.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't love the like. So basically, what he had was like he had like kind of like curtain bang situation up here, and then he had like the longish down the neck hair. What do you even call that? Is it a mullet? I don't think that's a mullet.
It wasn't a traditional mullet, but it was
But
kind of
it was the
mullet
70s
vibes.
mullet. Like think of any 70s like rocker band. That's what it looked like, kind of.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Bon Jovi. I think Bon Jovi had a haircut like that.
could be.
Anyway, I'm so sorry, but that was just stuck in my head. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. Sorry, guys. I just bonked the mic, too.
So, I think that about wraps everything. I was going to mention the fact that how I use AI at work and how I've come to use it appropriately and learn from it and such. So, I use Excel a lot in my job, and that's basically what I use AI for. So, because
To help you figure out Excel.
yeah, I know
But I got you
Excel.
such a cool sheet thing to help you know Excel.
Yeah, but that it is very cool. But
It doesn't have
those are
everything.
simple formulas and shortcuts,
Yeah.
not long drawn out complicated
Yeah.
formulas. And so for me, it's been a learning tool. Like I've used it as a learning tool, not as
Same.
like make a formula for me and then I'm like good enough. Like cuz I'll look at the formula and I'll be like, "All right." And then I'll be like I'll type in, explain it to me, break it down for me. How is it working? What is it doing? And then I'll test it and I'll be like, okay. So I use my own reasoning and prayer and working through the things like But I do use AI as a tool to better understand formulas, to look up different things. I've used it to problem solve or find some different technical solutions to things in areas that I'm not an expert in. And I don't really have someone to connect with that not at all the time that knows Excel to that level or knows some of those formulas that aren't as commonly known or how to use them. And so it can be a really good tool in that way. And I think that, and other things around the house and different stuff like,
the question I have about it is it making people smarter or dumber?
I think it depends on how you use it. I think that you
Because
could be dumber.
I think you could be dumber because like you don't ever have to figure anything out. You can just type it in, and then but then the other side of that is like, well, but then once you type it in, you'll know things. But then I feel like you're almost dumber because you can't just sit there and figure it out yourself too.
I mean, okay,
Because there's like a curiosity and like a mind brain exercise thing that happens when you have to sit there and figure it out with your own brain and your own resources. And when you can just type it in and then it's like, oh, well, now you're just kind of dumb because you didn't have to sit there and exercise your brain.
I asked AI the other day, ChatGPT, CookGPT. I was like, CookGPT, what's a good seasoning setup for burgers? And it gave me this lineup. And I gave it a try. And it wasn't as good as I thought it was. And so I did that. But here's the thing. I learned a couple different seasonings and stuff that you can use on burgers that I never thought of. And now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that. And I change it up. So next time I did burgers, I changed it up a little bit, got a better flavor. So it can be useful. Again, kind of like with the images thing, it'll give you vibes. It'll give you vibes, but you really need to tap into like your God-given ability to create, to think, and to be guided by Holy Spirit, because that's something that AI does not have. AI does not have Holy Spirit leading. The only time where I feel like that AI to some extent is trustworthy-ish, I would still need Holy Spirit's discernment, but I would say it is a pretty fabulous tool. If you tell ChatGPT, for example, you can put it on the audio thing and be like, hey, hit me with 25 verses about why I shouldn't be afraid today, why I can have confidence in my relationship with God and my walk with God. Because it'll just bam, it'll just hit you, bam, 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 and it'll read it back to you. So I did that in the car a lot when I was doing those long rides and when I had things I was concerned or worried about. But here's the thing. It is AI. It can make mistakes. You're dealing with the scripture, but here's the thing. Even if you're dealing with a new translation that you haven't read before or different things like that, or a modern one or a different style or whatever, like it comes down to, do you know God? Do you know him? Because something, and do you know the word? Because if you're reading something and it's off in your spirit and you hear it and it's like, what? Wait, what? That something's not right there. Like that comes out of a place of knowing him. Just like if someone was talking about your friend and almost everything was accurate, but then something was just a little bit tweaked. If you know that friend, you're going to be like, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound like him because I know him. So it's the same thing with God. Like I don't know what that was. I think it was a piece of concrete just fell out of the side of the wall here. Anyway.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Moving on, let's talk about that fact that we have not been to church in a while.
Or should we save that for the next one? What are we at?
33 minutes.
33 minutes?
Yeah, 15 more minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's time for our hashtag not sponsored ad for the day. Did you do it last time? Or?
Yeah, I did it last time, so it's all you, boo.
Okay. Hashtag not sponsored.
And I did Zevia, so you can't do Zevia.
What do we have on hand? All right. Hang on. Let me think.
Time's up.
No, I'm not going to do Spindrift, though they are amazing and delectable and delightful. I'm going to do... Oh, we've we've already done that.
People are bored. They're clicking ahead right now.
I know what we're going to do. Did we already talk about this? Okay, if we already talked about this on the podcast, I apologize. But also, you are very welcome because I'm going to talk about them again. They're amazing. Freeze-dried strawberries covered in dark chocolate. Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
He's still sleeping. It's called True Fruit, and you can find it pretty much anywhere. And
Now
it's absolutely wrong.
They have frozen berry versions, not the same. I think you really like those still.
I do, but I like the other ones better.
But the freeze dry, it just melts in your mouth.
We could get some.
But it hits you with this fresh strawberry, like
man.
Bam.
The thing is that they have a lot of
chocolate, like.
I can't condone them as a health coach.
Oh really?
No, I cannot. It's too much sugar. Sorry, guys. But if you want to treat once a year, this is the rule I would give you. You can be a total crackhead with your diet. The amount of fingers you have on your hand in a year, okay? So there's 5 times in the year that you're allowed to be a crackhead. And if one of those times you want to do True Fruit, go for it, man. It's awesome. I think you're over your limit already this year, honey.
Okay. Well.
So no more True Fruit for you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, they're all going to be True Fruit, so how many we got here?
I mean, maybe you can use both hands if you want to be really edgy.
No.
When I say a complete crackhead, I'm meaning more like, oh, I want to go sit and have like fries at McDonald's, and then I would would hit you over the head and say, "Are you sure about that?"
Unless they're tallow.
Unless they're steak and shake fries, then I am in full support, honey. You should get some of those. You should try those steak and shake fries. I want to try them.
Oh, I know.
How far away is it from here?
20 minutes.
Oh, stinkers.
I know, but we'll get them. There might be a closer one where we move.
Oh my goodness. God
see.
Bless.
But anyway, they're really good, and when just lock them away.
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't tried them, try them. They're good.
Yes.
Okay, and that's all.
All right. Do we want to dive into the church conversation, or do we want to dive into a different conversation?
What was the other thing you had? To talk about.
I guess it was just
trusting.
We already talked a little bit about trusting. Why don't we just kind of wrap that up? Because we already talked about that a little bit, and then we'll tackle church on the next one.
Yeah, because you know what? I got a question about church kind of related things. I asked, this was a while ago, on my Instagram when I was still doing Instagram, what they wanted us to talk about, and guess what somebody asked?
Oh, I think I remember.
Yeah. They asked
so
a juicy church question. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Talk about that on the next one. But kind of wrapping up with the trust journey, I already talked about that a little bit with the whole AI thing and realizing that in the end we found the place and God provided and everything. But I want to talk a little bit about how that happened, because we've talked about how we got this house. I want to talk a little bit about how we got this place and why it's also miraculous and amazing, but also not necessarily what we expected to begin with. And
yeah,
a little bit of that
at the beginning of the journey, I said, we will not be in an apartment. I will not live in an apartment.
Yeah.
Basically, I said that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny how every time I say what I will not do, that's the next thing I'm doing.
But it's not horrible.
No, I'm saying it's actually funny.
Yeah, no, it is kind of funny.
Because I'm like, I will not do that. And God's like...
Well, I think it's just because he's growing, he's developing, but
I don't mean that he's up there in like a mean way saying that. I think sometimes I honestly think God just has a sense of humor, and I will give you an example. For a long time, we did not have air conditioning in one of our family vehicles, okay? It was a Chevy Astro van, I think it was that one that did not have air conditioning, okay? It was awful. We lived in Florida, and we lived in the armpit of Florida, nasty, humid, hot Florida, okay? We love Florida, but not that part of it. Anyway, so then we got a new vehicle, and it was a GMC Safari van, which is basically the same van, but the GMC version. And it had air conditioning that could freeze your toenails. And I mean, it was like the blast from the Arctic when it turned on. And I mean, we were like living the dream. And so Dad always said, God has a sense of humor because he's like, you want air conditioning? I'll give you air conditioning. Anyway, it's funny. But yeah, it's funny that
Is that the van you drifted in?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
With Grandpa.
Oh my goodness.
Grandpa's the OG. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So why don't you tell your side of kind of the journey from start to here in
I've
the
really
place
wanted to
what
be
you
a
learned?
full-time RVer, honestly. So it was a little sad when that didn't work out.
That
I
was a
felt a
thing
little
we looked
sad about
into.
that. We spent a whole day like looking at RVs at an RV place. We met a really cool guy, and we had a really fun time. That was it was so fun. When I think about it now, it was so fun.
We had to
And
sit down, Annie and I, where we were like, what matters most to us? And we were like, even if the place we moved into was smaller, if it meant that we could be out in nature and not be cramped in the city, like it would be fine. And so, hence why we went down the RV route.
Plus, we just love adventure and we love going
Yeah.
places. And we've narrowed down our stuff, and we were like, we could narrow it down even farther. We could sell pretty much everything we own, and we could do RV life. We would love it. It would be so fun. So we looked into RVs. We got almost to the full, like, almost to the sign papers part.
Yeah, like we did our research.
Yeah, like we had and we had a
compared,
great experience. We had a
contrasted. Oh,
great
yeah.
experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like with the RV place that we were with, and the sales guy, like he wasn't shoddy at all. He was like super nice, super honest, and great.
And
experience.
I know that when people hear that, they're like, "Oh, really?"
Ha-ha,
It was like the
he?
most
No, he actually was.
unsalesy
Unsalesy
but here's
sales
the
guy
thing:
you've
the
ever seen in
reason,
your life.
the way I understood it was because they sell so many RVs from that particular place that it wasn't
Yeah.
like oh, I'm trying to make a deal today. It was kind of like
Actually, most of their sales are to people going full-time RV is what he was saying. So it's like a big thing right now, and like I get it. It's great. It's awesome. You can take your home wherever you want. You can wake up at a different place whenever you want. It's
especially
awesome.
with the prices the way
Especially
they are,
with
which
prices.
is one of the
Nobody-
reasons we also were looking into it.
So got to the end, almost signed the papers. It all fell through. So we were like, okay, well, basically, God, you open the doors that we're supposed to go through, and we'll walk through them until you shut them. And he shut those. So maybe we were just supposed to meet the sales guy, because we formed a really great relationship with him. And who knows, maybe, oh my goodness, who knows, maybe we will like meet him again and we'll be friends. And I mean, hey, his fiance makes sourdough. I would love to meet her.
We did
Anyway.
learn a lot along the way too.
And we also did learn a ton
one day
about
down the
RVs.
road, like maybe we'll get to implement
100% hope we do. Yeah,
I hope so
it was
too.
awesome. So then it was like really sad, and we both were just like, well, poo, that was going to be really exciting. We were going to do RV life, like we were all 100% into like selling all our stuff. Let's do this thing. Let's go. We had talked to a lot of RV parks. Okay, anyway,
And the RV we found was super awesome.
I mean, it was just perfect.
It was so perfect.
So then we were like, okay, well, let's keep with this like mobile situation, because we kind of were like, I think maybe we're supposed to be mobile.
Well, we
this
still
next
weren't
season.
finding anything else.
We weren't finding, like, we have
done
a
a
realtor, and he's sending us stuff, and most of them are like dumpy, looks like it used to be crackhead or other unmentionable
Literally
places.
some of them unmentionable things.
Yeah. It was not good. What the options were not good. And so we kind of just ghosted the poor realtor. Honestly, we probably need to like send him an email. Anyway,
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So then we were like, and we kept our eyes kind of open for rentals, but not really, because literally there's nothing except apartments. And we were like, we really don't want to do an apartment. So then we were like, well, we really wanted to do the schoolie thing for a long time. If you don't know what a schoolie is, it's where you turn a school bus into your home. It's awesome. You should go watch YouTube about it. Anyway, so we were like, okay, maybe we'll do that. Well, we started looking into it, and we just both all of a sudden were just like,
We ran into a bunch of blockades. Like we kind of at the start, we were like, "Well, this is really cool," and then we just ran into multiple blockades, like me getting violently sick, which just was a huge morale kick, and it took up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we just weren't finding stuff that we were trying to find, and the time frame we were needing and different stuff. It just it like seemed like it was a possibility, and then suddenly it all just kind of closed.
So it like
up.
just kind of fizzled out. Yeah. And so then we were like, okay, well, what do we have left? We've looked at homes, we've looked at RVs, we've looked at schoolies. What do we have left? Apartments.
Oh, look at that.
And suddenly I was just like, you know what? I think I could do an apartment, you know? And I've talked about on here about the gratitude work and the joy work that I have done and chosen to do. And recently, I think I've fallen a little bit down, and I've been catching myself being not grateful. And so anyway, this is a good reminder for me talking about this. Anyway, I was just like, you know what? I could do it. I have lived in the middle of crackhead town for a year, and I shouldn't say crackhead. We have amazing neighbors on this. Yeah. We just had like so much fun with them today.
Occasional smell of weed and stuff. But honestly, we have some really good neighbors.
We have some really good neighbors. Okay, and we love them. We just spent a while with them today. But like I have lived in so many different situations, and like I can 100% do an apartment and make it great. It helps that my sister has an apartment, and it's adorable. It's so cozy. It's great place, location. It's safe. It's nice. Like, and so we visited her a couple times. We're like, wow, this is actually really nice. Like, we could do this. And so we talked about it. We're like, you know what? We can do this. We can actually do this, I think. Mm-hmm. So we looked into apartments. Well, a lot of them, there was just very specific things that they had that we were not meeting, like credentials or whatever. A lot of them are just priced high right now, and a lot of them didn't have any openings because we want 2 bedrooms so that we can have a little more space. And a lot of them, yeah, they weren't matching up with us and what we need. And so there was like maybe 2 or 3 that we reached out to.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
Because so this is kind of where some of my story comes in a little bit with this.
For you because you wanted some, and then I was going to drink some of your Spindrift, but then you drank it all.
Oh, you want to finish this?
No.
Okay.
I have my own water. I should be drinking this anyway. It's the last Zevia, so it's the last Zevia, so we're sharing it.
So my part of the story is kind of interesting because, like, as the husband and father and like,
and sir, I don't really know when it happened that I was just like okay with the apartment, but suddenly I was just okay with it.
It was like after I'd been sick, and
we had just visited my sister, and so I was just like, you know what?
Yeah,
I love her house. It was actually really relaxing. Every time we go to her house, it's like a vacation for us, except the time that she got us violently sick, which was last time, and. Maybe,
other than that,
maybe we'll never see her again. I don't know.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No. So, yeah, but that was also the same trip where we decided we wanted to do the bus thing. But we kind of had, I think we both had that kind of in the back of our mind of like, you know, this isn't a bad apartment. You know, this isn't. Yeah. So it was kind of a sanctuary. Oh, and so, yeah, so my part of the story is like this element of, like, I don't know, it just feels like a journey with God of trying to understand, because these are big decisions, you know, that we're making and trying to figure out, you know, where is God leading? Like with the house thing, sure, we saw some options that were possible, but we didn't have peace about them. Or the ones that we did feel like, wow, like something about this does resonate with us, the door is just closed. And stuff like that just kind of kept happening. And one of the things we came down to is we're like, we don't know that we're going to be here for 5 years. Like, we don't really feel peace about it.
Like, it's not worth it to invest in a mortgage that's 15 or 30 years long. If we're
not at the rates and stuff that we're looking at.
It's just not, we don't have it. We don't have the peace to do that.
Yeah. No. And I mean, that was the big thing.
But we love this area and we love the people here.
And
we love our life here.
What's going to happen down there? Like, maybe we will stay longer, but when we're both like, no, like every time we come back to it, we're just like, we don't know. We don't feel right about that. And not even like a fear thing. Like, what if we move? Like, just something doesn't quite. Yeah. And so, and we've just learned that we're okay with trusting it. Like, like you have to get to a point where you have to be like, you know what? he's the shepherd. If I make a dumb move in my attempt to follow him, like I'm the sheep, he's the shepherd. Like
Like that little
it's not
book
about
that Zadok
me.
has. It's so cute. At the end of every page, it says, "You're my shepherd. I'm your sheep."
Oh, I do remember that one.
It's so
Yeah.
sweet. Every time I read it, I like get a lump in my throat because I'm like, it's still true for me.
Mm-hmm. The point is, it's not about you getting everything perfect. It's just about you being the sheep. So if you're the sheep and he's the
Start
shepherd,
baaing, guys. You need to baa more.
you have nothing you need to worry about.
You need to baa
Yes.
more.
Bah. Do it.
You need to
It'll
put
make you feel better.
Put that sheepskin on, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good on you. It was made for you. Yeah.
And then, like, the pressure of making the perfect decision, or like, what if I'm messing up God's will, or whatever, it all goes out the window.
And other people acting scared for us.
Yeah.
Where it's like suddenly you're almost like, wait, you start second guessing, and God's like, was that my voice? No, it was not. So does it get weight? No, it does not. I mean, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like fearful voices do not get weight in your should not be given
or your own
life.
Fearful voices, like,
and a lot of times it's your own fearful voice. But like what I'm saying is, like, when you are doing your best, and I don't like to say doing your best, but when you're listening to God, like, his voice gets the weight, and all of the other fearful, anxious voices around you, you just need to shut them up. And I'm not saying you tell them to shut up. I'm just saying, sure, I will listen to what you have to say, but that doesn't mean I'm going to receive it or do it, because I can tell that you're just saying this in fear and anxiety for what could potentially happen. And the thing is God always takes care of us. And this is the time after time after time that we've walked into something uncertain, and we've had people in our lives, and like multiple people, just like be concerned for us. And we're like, no, God's got us, you know? And like, that's not some for like, we're holy and this, look at our faith. I'm just saying, like, he does. He has you. And like, there's just so much time wasted in our lives worrying, and it needs to get out of your life. And
I gotta say,
I almost said something really spicy right there, but I didn't.
I actually was encouraged that there was at least 2 or 3 people during this journey that I interacted with work, at work or other, that, like, even when I felt a little bit concerned about stuff that was going on, they were just like, it's gonna work out. And I was like, wow. Like, and not in a like, oh, I hope things work out, like in a very just like
confident.
And I don't know, I just really appreciated that. Now a lot of people were,
because we have every reason to be
concerned,
confident. We have literally every reason to be confident. So, I mean, I've just come to the point, and like my mom was telling me this recently. She was saying that she thinks that I've just become really confident in who I am, and I just don't pretend to be somebody for anybody. And I was like, well, that's because I ain't got time for that. Like, I am who I am, and there are things to do, and there is a kingdom here, and I don't have time to try to be somebody that I'm not. So you get what you get, okay, people? This is who I am, and I'm not trying to be somebody else. Because honestly, the more you understand how God thinks about you, the more you're like, I'm not that bad. Like, I can roll with this. You know, like, you don't have to have that, like, pretend humble, I'm actually so not that great. It's like, no, that's not humble. That's just self-deprecating, and you need to think about yourself the way God thinks about you.
Yeah, there should be a level of confidence
in who you are.
In who you are in him.
Yeah.
Because you're always meant to be in him and with him. And yeah, like, you know, you hear a lot of times people, like, in church or different things, like, kind of being like, oh, well, you're, like, whenever someone says, like, you know, accidentally says something about them being good, then it's like, oh, but really, I'm not that great. Like, it almost this, like,
it's trying to be humble.
Like, yeah, it's like trying to be humble, but it's like, you should be confident about you and him.
And that's pretty great. You are pretty great.
Because it's
and the gifts he's given you are pretty
great.
It's a new
you. Like,
yeah.
Like, old things have passed away, all things have become new. Like there is something awesome about that. Now, if it's you without him, then there's nothing awesome about that at all. Actually,
Right.
it's
If it's
just a
you
bunch of
muscling your
pride.
way, yeah.
Yeah, and
Muscling your way into trying to be spiritual, then yeah, that's not awesome.
mm-mm.
And that's really not great. And so, yeah.
No.
But I more and more, and God's done this in me. Like, it's just, He's done it where He has showed me who I am in Him. And I'm like, okay, let's just roll with that. And I'm just confident in it.
Bah.
And I'm just
Confident
batting all the
sheep.
way.
I
Yeah,
need
like
that as
I'm
a
literally
shirt.
wearing a
Confident
Sherpa. I look like a big
sheep.
fluffy sheep right now because I'm wearing this big fluffy Sherpa. I was looking at myself in the camera and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm looking fluffy, guys, fluffy. But yeah, I always think about this, something that William told me when we were in college and he was facing a lot of like big leaps of faith in his life, and he had this like beanbag thing in his head where he was like, when you like sit on a beanbag and you're just like, oh, like a beanbag just kind of holds you in all the right places. It just kind of, you just kind of melt into it because it's got like, especially the big fluffy ones, because it's just got like all the poof and the beads
Mm-hmm.
and the, and you just, it's just so comfortable because it just like molds around you. Anyway, he was saying that is how we need to be in peace when with God, and no matter what's going on. It's that beanbag peace where you just,
Mm-hmm.
every bone in your body, every muscle just like relaxes, and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't felt that in a while, it might be a good time to do some journaling and some self-introspection and self-introspection. I say introspection is when you look into your own heart, but and
And then
get to that
start calling
peace.
out things. Be like, no, that's not who I am.
Right. And
I am not
also,
afraid.
the only thing that we are told to strive for in scripture is peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting
Enter
really tired of
into
people
the
saying
rest.
that they're going to strive to be more like Jesus. We need to cut that out of our language. And I know that I am hitting some controversial things, or like people don't like to hear that. But I'm just saying, stop saying you're striving to be like Jesus, because He has given you. You just have to start receiving who
Mm-hmm.
He is.
It's not about
And
you becoming like Him.
No.
It's about the work that He literally talks about. It's like
He's
what the Holy
already
Spirit
done
is
it.
doing in you.
You
Like,
have to
and
receive
it's,
it. You have to
yeah.
receive it. He's already done it. So you don't have to start. You don't have to strive. You don't have to strive for it because He's already done it. So all you have to do is stop listening to the old and receive the new.
The renewing of the mind.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more in the next one, I feel like.
Strive for peace. Do whatever it takes. Peace.
But I want to hit
peace.
kind of the summation of this is that, and I find this is something when I say this, I'm saying that I don't quite know what this is, but it's something I know God is trying to teach us. But when we started looking at apartments, one of the first apartments we saw is the one that we're moving into now. And we did not even inquire about it because we looked at it and something in us was like, we were like, no.
Yeah.
And literally after I said that, I just felt a little bit like, just a smidget, a drop, a little whisper of like, yeah, it's gonna be that place. Just a little bit, but I was so caught up in looking at things that I just kind of just moved on, and so I don't know what that is. If sometimes we see, I mean, the same thing when we came to this house. Like sometimes we see, like, we're not seeing what He's seeing. We look at it at face value, and we're not seeing what He's seeing.
Yeah.
The good news is that as we trust, as we follow Him, like it's not like every decision I made was wrong. Like I made decisions throughout the process of searching for this that was trusting and that was walking and trying to figure out where God was guiding.
We did.
We both did. And
Yeah.
but in the end, it came back to that. And I don't know. I even say that just to like say I want to grow in that, and I don't say that in like, oh, I'm trying to do better. Kind of going back to what we were just talking about. I'm excited and confident that He's teaching me something there, and He's going to keep teaching me that, so that way, in the future, maybe I'll be quicker to recognize what he has for me. But I will say, and I'm very thankful that this isn't a prideful thing. It's like I'm very excited to see the growth that when we did know it was the place, like we jumped on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was awesome about that was that once we went and saw the place, he said that like another 70 people or something were interested in it.
Yeah.
After he's like, yeah, it's a good thing you applied for it and everything. And I mean,
well, he was saying it's a good thing that you were like on the money and you
Right.
like were responding to my emails and stuff, because I had like 70 other people interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
And also when William first emailed him, he was like, that's not even an email that I use very often, but he just so happened to like see it.
Yeah, it wasn't like their main email. It was like an older
No.
email or something.
Yeah.
But and yeah.
And
so
then he's like, hey,
And I think I
we have
even-
a unit available. Like when we reached out to them, they were like, literally one is opening tomorrow. So go ahead and apply.
Mhm.
And we were like, okay. And then we apply, and he's like, or maybe this was, I don't know.
we hadn't seen it. We didn't really know much
we
about
hadn't seen
it.
it. Well, we'd seen pictures online, but we didn't know if like the
It was
units
the
like,
same one, yeah.
if they're all the same or not. And then he emails again, and he's like, by the way, as soon as they move out tomorrow, like we're totally renovating the whole apartment, new appliances, new floors, new paint, like the whole shebang. And we were like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
we'll take
It was like,
we'll do
okay,
it.
because we'd kind of gotten to this point. I've been looking at apartments, looking at different stuff, and finally got to that point where it's kind of like, all right, God, whatever, which we should have been there in the first place, but it was kind of like, all right, whatever you have in mind, which sometimes we say that, but then we're like really hoping that it's.
That's where we
know.
were. We wanted whatever God had in
Yeah.
mind. But we were just really hoping that it was the RV, and then we were really hoping that it was the schoolie, and then we were really hoping that it was some for cute little house out in the country.
Yeah.
But we just sometimes our hopes aren't quite
It's not hope. What is that? It's
our
guess
ideas. Our
it
ideas
is-
of what we want.
it's a different it's not like the biblical version of hope. It's more of
No. Expectation.
no, because that's what hope is. So this is more of I don't know, maybe it's still kind of a hope, but in a different way.
Anyway,
Yeah.
like we have our
More
hopes
wishful.
and dreams. We have our hopes and dreams, but like we don't even know ourselves as well as God knows us. So, yeah, we're just like, and every time that he does something that we don't expect and that we weren't planning on, it ends up being way better than we could have dreamt of, and better, or best. Better normally means unexpectedly. Like when we moved here, I didn't know I was about to go through boot camp about loneliness and postpartum and patience and great gratitude and joy. I had no idea that I was about to go through that boot camp. But I mean, I am coming out of this like war paint on my face, explosions in the background, cape flying in the wind. Like that's how I'm coming out.
You
of
are
this
not the
house.
same person
No.
that when we moved here, like in all the best ways. You're still you, but
Thank you.
just yeah. Just
That's what boot camp does. You come
Mhm.
back with more muscles and more toughness, and like anybody that's been in the military, they don't come back out the same person.
Mm-mm.
And even if you just go through base camp, like you ain't gonna be the same person after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. You're just different.
Mm-hmm. But they're just getting brainwashed, and you're getting
Spirit washed.
you're getting
blood washed.
living water. Something. I thought I was going to use a really eloquent way of saying that, but all I have is hands.
I think I need to get baptized again, man. I just love getting baptized. I think I need baptized again.
It is
I think
pretty awesome.
Maybe I'll just get baptized every year. I'm just kidding. All the church people are like, what did
Oh.
you say?
Oh. We're going to have to talk about that sometime too.
Baptism. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, guys. This has been an hour and 3 minutes of a good time with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, end of the story. God is awesome, providing for us. Didn't quite look like what we thought it would be, but in the end, like we're so grateful for it. It is very peaceful. It is out in the
We
country.
didn't even talk about it. It's out in the country. Yeah, it's got a pond. Our apartment. He said we're literally getting the best apartment that they have. He said, like it has the best layout. It's like the best views. It's beautiful, like they're redoing the whole thing, and it's like this beautiful country theme, and it's quiet. And literally one of my friends was saying that they lived there at one point, and it was like a retreat with God for her. Like it was just so peaceful and so quiet.
Well, and then after we went and saw it on the way driving home,
I saw the car with the license plate. Is that what you're talking about? The license plate literally said God PRVD.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep.
God provides, baby.
So cool.
That's awesome.
I will be like 20 minutes from work as opposed to 2 hours. So I'm very excited to be able to spend more time at home. And it'll just feel like kind of like, yeah, just like normal life.
We're going to go chill now because we have had a busy day today packing our life up. And we
got a lot done. It was good.
We got so much done. And now it's time to chill. But we want to talk to you guys first.
Yeah. Is this our last podcast?
Or it's our last podcast in the cellar, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might see the cellar again on the internet because potentially a famous TikToker's friend is going to live here. Yeah. So you might see our house.
You never know.
On the internet
never know.
Still.
Yeah.
So if you do see it, comment and say, I know that house.
I knew that.
The InterCellar POD.
I knew that wall.
I know that creepy basement. Anyway.
Yep. All right.
See you
next
time.
See you on the flip side.
Oh my goodness, we both just saluted at the same time.